Good evening. My name is Ashwin Madia. A lot of you don't know me, so I want to tell you, first of all, who I am. Then I want to take a few minutes to tell you why I'm running for Congress. And then the last thing I want to do is tell you why I think I'm the best candidate in this race and why you ought to support me over all the other great people that are running. Who I am. I'm the humble son of Indian immigrants. My parents came to this country. They had $19 in their pocket when they first came to Boston. They bought an $11 bottle of champagne, and so they started off with $8. My family moved all around the country as I was growing up. We ended up settling in Minnesota when I was in high school. I went to Osseo Senior High School, then I moved to the University of Minnesota. While at the University of Minnesota, I served as student body president. I worked hard while I was there to keep education costs low and keep education accessible for people from all walks of life. After college, I moved to New York and I started law school. While at law school, I worked for battered women, I worked for unemployed people, I worked for disabled children, and all kinds of various legal causes pro bono. I graduated law school and then I joined the Marine Corps. I served in the Corps for 4 years. After basic training in Virginia, most of my time was spent in Okinawa, Japan, but I did a tour in Iraq from September of 2005 to March of 2006. While I was there, I was working with Iraqi judges, the European Union, the United Nations, the State Department, and the military to build Iraq's legal system. We called it the Rule of Law Mission. I got out of the Marine Corps July 2006 and moved back home to Minnesota, where I worked for Wendy Wild when she was running for Congress. I worked for Grace Baltich. I worked for Andy Maureen, and I worked for Savir Chaudhry in their races because I wanted to see some Democrats get elected. I started working in a law firm, and I worked at that firm for about a year until about 10 days ago where I left it so I could campaign full time. So that's who I am. Now let me get to the important part. Let me tell you why I'm running for Congress. I'm running for Congress because I think we need a fighter in Washington, D.C. I think we need a forceful advocate for the issues that we care about as Democrats, someone that's going to show some guts and someone that's going to show some backbone, because I think the American people are with us on a lot of different things. First, I think we need to end this Iraq war, but I think we need to do it in a responsible way so we don't leave a disaster behind. I want to get out of Iraq just as much as everybody else does, but it's also true that I think we bear some responsibility for what happens over there. We invaded that nation, we did it without a plan, and we toppled their government. I don't think we can leave that country in flames. So what I think is we ought to get out about 1 to 2 brigades about every 1 or 2 months. I think that'd take us about 18 to 24 months to get completely out of Iraq. But even then, I think we should leave about 10 to 20,000 forces back for a variety of missions. 1, to protect our State Department. 2, to go after high-ranking members of Al-Qaeda. And 3, in conjunction with other nations. This is a key point. In conjunction with other nations, hopefully, once we draw down our presence there by about 90%, once we have a new administration in place and we start working with other nations, hopefully we can get some international buy-in in conjunction with other nations. I think we ought to have a force there that's ready to prevent ethnic cleansing if it starts. And I know this is an unpopular position. There's some people that say, oh, we can get out completely tomorrow, and there's other people that say, no, we keep doing like we're doing. I'm not on either one of those extremes. I think this is a responsible policy. I've thought about it. I think it's thoughtful, and I think it accomplishes some of our strategic goals. Second, I think we ought to balance our budget. We are borrowing hundreds of billions of dollars right now from future generations, from kids and from grandkids. That's not right, and we can do better. We need people in Washington that can make Congress make the hard choices and do honest accounting about our numbers. Third, we need to address global climate change. This earth is heating up and we're a cause of it, but the converse of that is we can be a cause of changing it. We can lead the world in addressing this problem, and we can make a lot of money in the process off the new green economy. Fourth, I want to make healthcare more accessible, more affordable. And fifth, I want to renew our federal commitment to education. I also want to talk just generally in this campaign about what kind of nation we want to be after September 11th. We've done a number of things since September 11th in the name of protecting ourselves. We've started parsing words of what torture means. We've got Guantanamo Bay. We have warrantless wiretapping in this country. But we've never had a discussion about whether that's the kind of nation that we want to be. I'm not convinced it is. I'm not convinced we need to do those things in order to be safe. And I want to go back and I want to go to Washington so I can stand up for these civil liberties. So that's the reasons I'm running for Congress. Now, let me just very quickly tell you why I think you ought to pick me over some of the other great candidates that are running in this race. I'll give you 3 reasons. First, I think the seminal issue facing our country is Iraq. I understand Iraq because I've been there. I understand the military as an institution because I served in it for 4 years. When I talk about Iraq, when I talk about the military, I'm not telling you about it because I read about it in a book or because someone told me about it. I'm telling you about it because I was there, because I lived it. Second, I think we need a forceful advocate in Washington. These pharmaceutical industries and the insurance industries and big oil, they got plenty of money in Washington and they got plenty of fighting in them. I promise you that. We need someone that will get up every day at 6 in the morning and go to bed every night at midnight and fight hard against these companies. Because they will push back when it comes to healthcare. They will push back when we move to this global economy. We need a forceful advocate that's going to stand up and show some guts. Third, I think I'm the best shot of winning this district in November. The first line, and bringing it back blue again, the first line of attack in every Republican playbook is to say the Democrats are soft on terror, that they're unpatriotic, that they don't love their country, all that kind of nonsense. They can't play that card with me. I was a Marine for 4 years. I was in Iraq for 6.5 months. Nobody is going to tell me I don't love my country. If anyone says something like that to me, I'm going to turn around and say to them, I didn't spend 6.5 months in Baghdad, be told by a man who never served that I don't love my country. So that's who I am. That's why I'm running. And that's why I think you ought to vote for me. I appreciate you all having me here tonight. And hopefully now Terry and I get a chance to answer some questions. Thank you all very much.